Hey, it's your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about Tyler Perry's Sistas. My girls hold me down, them boys mess around. Y'all know the song, rest of it. Anyway, yeah, I'm on screen, and we are talking about season 4, episode 17, Some Sort of Woman. This episode was so to me. There were a lot of funny parts for me that I get tickled very easy. I have a serious funny bone, but everything, no, I shouldn't say easily, but I like to laugh, and Barbie J got some laughs out of this episode. So let's get started really quick. But before we get started, I want to thank everybody, all my subscribers, for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate you all, and I'm going to do a special video on that. And then I want to also say, if you have not subscribed to my channel as of yet, take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time Barbie J uploads a new video. Then I ask that you smash that like button, write a comment, and share. Sharing is caring. Anyway, let's get on with this recap review. So we start with Calvin and Q. They still on the couch and stuff, and Calvin turns down Q's proposition to have sex with him. Really? He realizes Q is trying to take advantage of him because he's drunk, and he's like, dude, you trying to take advantage of me. I ain't Maurice, and I ain't falling for your bull. And he let him know. He said, I like women. He made it clear. So y'all, everybody who thought it was anything other than that, Calvin made it clear. He liked women. And so, and then he had the nerve to make this remark talking about when he sober up, he gonna kick his butt or something like that. We were like, you can't fight, Calvin. You need to stop. Anyway, then it went on to the next scene was the girls. They show up at Karen's apartment. Of course, why? This scene upset me. Because they show up while she and Aaron are doing the do. Yeah, they knocked. Okay, we give them that. They knocked. But they waited, 5 seconds? Knock, knock. And she's yelling, no, or something like that. And they just come on in. And they're standing there. And they're staring. And they're watching. And his butt is up in the air. And they're not moving. And nobody's even turning around. And Andy gets in front and it's like, call herself pushing back. And Sabrina's like, oh. And what's Danny is just like, I was just like, that was such a stupid scene. Because as your sister friends and your girls, y'all have been, oh my bad, and run back out. Near one of them ran back out. You see them in the middle of doing the do. Be respectful and leave. And they didn't do that. And that bothered me. So, she's telling Aaron, she gets dressed and says she's going to go out there and talk to him. Somebody thought that she might tell them to stay and him to leave, but it was complete opposite. So she tells him to stay while she goes in the hallway to speak with them. And they just like, they're being just quite, what am I saying, childish and selfish, if you ask me, because she's telling them to go home and she'll talk to them tomorrow. And all they want to know is, did you go to the doctor and what happened at the doctor and all this stuff? And she's like, I will talk to you later about it. But my confusion is the part where Andy is acting like she totally doesn't know. She's saying things like she's not aware that Karen was at her job. Now, is this because of how Tyler Perry wrote it? Or is she really supposed to be keeping this secret? Because Karen goes, well, how did y'all find out? And they said, we didn't know, but you just told us, basically. And I'm like, Karen didn't even look at Andy, like, did you tell him type of look. You would look at the person who you thought knew. She didn't even do that. But then they're with the, ooh, you're blessed, and ooh, you glowing and all that stuff. And she's like, come on, just go home. And so then when she goes back into the apartment with Aaron, and he has all his clothes back on, and she's like, of course he was understanding about it, but she's like, what are you doing? And he's like saying, oh, that's great to have friends like that. Your girls came by to see you. And then he starts, you know how he is. He starts getting deep with her and explaining that he doesn't know her. He doesn't know where he stands with her, basically. And he didn't want to get back into it. But everybody's feeling guilty about stuff. So then he wants to leave, and Karen's like pissed and stuff, and she's like, I'm gonna cuss all of them out. I'm still biatches. I'm gonna curse them out for interrupting them. And I understand that feeling, but do y'all think she was using him? I think at that moment Karen was using Aaron for sex. She didn't know what to do, and sometimes sex is like a relief. It relieves you, you know. Y'all know. Stop acting like you don't know. Then it's like, so Robin, then it goes to Robin showing up at Andy's penthouse, and she's looking real sexy. She had on this nice outfit with the crisscross, all that stuff out, and the thigh-high stuff on. I was like, you better work it, Miss Andy. You got that one. So she thanks him for what he did earlier that day, and he mentioned it wasn't quid pro quo, and he would have helped her, gladly helped her anyway. And she was like, oh no, but I like feeling like I owe you something. And then he's like, there you go with the guilt with that Gary. And she's like, what? And he's like, he wants to know, is it over? And she was like, why would you ask me that? You know, of course, I wouldn't have invited you over here if it wasn't over. I was like, we were all like, really, Andy? Really, Andy? You've been back and forth. You don't, it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over. And it ain't over, Andrea. Anyway, so they get into, you know, she feeling insulted about that. And he told her he doesn't believe that it's over. And he's right. He's totally right. Anyway, so she's feeling insulted. They get into this little discussion about what's going on between them and what kind of woman she is. Hence the title, some other kind of woman. She's like, do you think I'm a hooker? He's like, never, ever thought that. It never came to my mind. Stop playing. So then, you know, once they get that settled, she pours him a glass of champagne, and they drink. She sipped from hers, put it down, and then she drinks from his. And I was like, what was that all about? I don't know. Y'all, somebody tell me down in the comment section. Then she asks him, you know, she's like, want him to do, you know, guess what I want you to do to me? And he's trying to figure it out. She said, I'm not going to tell you. You figure it out. She wants him. I'm like, oh, child, girl, you know he knows what you want and what you're going to do. And that's what he does. He tears that ass up. Then we see Gary watching through the telescope. And Jake walks in and catches him. And Gary's frustrated and snaps at Jake, you know, tell him to go home. And Jake was like, damn, dude, what's up? You okay? And he's up. And he said, I didn't know nobody was here. So he's leaving. He turns to leave, and Gary calls him back and tells him, you know, what he did for Andy with buying her that $3.5 million apartment. And so Jake is like, let me go pour you a glass or something to drink. And they drinking and stuff. And as Gary started talking, Jake is not even moved. And he's like, so what? I mean, with all that damn money you make, that ain't nothing. 3.5 million is nothing. What the heck does Gary do? How much money does Gary make? How much is Gary worth? Good God. So, he says, she's over there. He tells her what he did, and now she's over there having sex with that man right now. And he's like, how do you know? And he's like, never mind. You know what? I'm leaving. He said, you're not going to finish it? I'm out. And yeah, he tells him to lock up. So Jake is like, Jake goes over to the telescope, and he looking through it, and is like, damn. He knew it was because Gary left it right there. And I was like, oh my God. And he said, I did not tell y'all. I said, Gary, for some reason, Jake gonna be able to look through that telescope, and he gonna have a different mindset about Gary. But it doesn't seem like his mindset had changed any, you know. So he looks through that telescope, and he said, ooh, he's giving her back shots. I said, oh my God. He said, oh no, that ain't right. That ain't right. He's like, gotta go. And he left. I said, oh my God, back shots. Then they got Maurice. He come home, and Q ain't in the living room. And he's like, oh, he better not be in the room with Calvin. And he checks in Calvin's room, and then goes to his old room and finds Calvin passed out between Q's legs. God, diggity dog. I knew it was going to be something simple to explain, but looks like terrible. But he's like, So Q explains to him what happened and how Calvin threw up in the garbage cans, and you see the two garbage cans there with that, like, really? And Maurice tells him to get out of his daggone room, and so Q escorts Calvin out. He gets him up and walks him out of the room, his drunk behind, to his own room. He should have did that in the first place. How he get on the bed under him where the Q is nasty. Q a nasty son of a shut your mouth. Then we got the girls showing up at Karen's house. They show up at Karen's, it's not her house, at her salon. And she lets them in and informs them she's almost 4 weeks pregnant. And then Sabrina's like that is between the time that she was sleeping with Zach and Aaron. But see, Karen never told them she slept with Aaron. As far as I remember, it was Fatima who told Andy in confidence or whatever about it. So Danny is saying that, well, then that's good. It's a possibility it's not Zach's baby. And Karen was like, why would you say that? And she's like, because Zach has moved on with Fatima, then you can move on with Preacher Man. Karen was not trying to hear that. Karen was not trying to hear that. She didn't like it at all. So they agreed. They agreed to the point that it's too soon to be making that type of comment. It's a little, she's too sensitive right now. And I'm like, whatever. So Karen decides she wants to hear what Danny's saying. And she know, because she know Danny be saying what, Danny's the only one that won't coddle her. So she continues with, Zach can move on with Fatima and you can move on with the Preacher Man. And Karen says she's not happy with him. And they're like, well, hell, he was tearing that ass up last night. Danny was like, he tearing that ass up last night. And Andy's like, well, exactly, what was that last night? What if you're so in love with Zach, why were you with the Preacher Man? She said, I just wanted him. And Danny says she meant to say she just wanted him to be Zach. Damn, Danny come out with the right things, don't she, y'all? And then she said, then as the girls go, they go back and forth. They all going back and forth with questions and comments and stuff. And Danny finally tells Karen that she doesn't have to have all of this figured out. She's telling her to stop, wait a minute. You don't have to have all of this figured out right now. She said, you still have 9 months. Because they kept saying, there's a baby involved. She said, you got 9 months, really 8. Let's be real, really 8 months now. Take some of the pressure off. And the answers don't have to come all at one time. That makes so much sense. They could come in pieces, and that's true, and fit together like a little Karen baby puzzle. She said, So then Andy's like, that was actually pretty poignant. And Sabrina's agreeing with her and Karen at it. You do say some good shit when you smoke. I said, y'all are crazy. So they all impressed and everything. And Danny's like, yeah, Danny's so poignant, right? You know how Danny gets. Anyway, so then Danny gets up to leave, and as she leaving to go to work, she blurts out that Sabrina's seeing a prince. And Sabrina's like, I told you not to say nothing. She said, that was last night you told me not to say it. This is this morning. So they want to know all about this prince, and Sabrina rushes out with Danny after saying, she rushing out and pushing her out the door, and they leave it to me. I'll tell you about it later. I said, you didn't want to hear about it later when Karen was saying last night in the middle of getting her some stuff. Y'all interrupt her, and she's like, I don't want to talk right now. They standing there, don't want to leave. But now Sabrina want to run out. And hold up. Let's talk about Sabrina right now. Y'all know what I'm about to say. What the heck was that Sabrina had on? God forbid what it's going to look like when she takes her coat off. When she takes that coat off, God forbid what it's going to look like. I'm just like, it didn't look like it was anything good. It looked like it's going to be scary. God help me. I hope it looks better than what I'm thinking it's going to be. Oh, God, that outfit. Whew, whew. Bring me back. Bring me back, Lord. Oh, my God. Anyway, So Pam comes in and she says good morning to everybody. Andy's leaving, promising to check on Karen later. And Pam walks over to Karen, once again being more than an employee and being a friend. And she's like, I bought you some breakfast. You know I don't do breakfast. She said, I know. And she said, you don't eat enough and you don't drink enough water. She said, what, you my mama now? And she was like, girl, please. She said, I'm too sexy to be anybody's mama. I said, I hear you, Pam. She said maybe a god mama, but that's about it. But I thought that was so sweet, and I'm telling you, I have a feeling Pam gonna be a good friend, a better friend to Karen than Karen be to her. I really do. Anyway, then they go to Hayden. He walks into Andy's office and wants to know how she did it, how she get Fatima out, and that that was a really high level call that was made, and what did you do? And she said, well, I'm just glad you wondering. And he said, well, it's not going to work for him. And she's like, are you done? He said, I am actually. And then Robin goes into the office. It says, hi, Hayden. His voice went up, seemed like an octave, a little bit. And he saw me touch him and said, oh my God, you look so good in that suit. I'm sorry. I thought that was so funny. Hayden was like, we'll get away, thank you. And he leaves. So Andy's asking, what the hell was that all about? And Robin says he told Hayden he was gay. And they bust out laughing like I am now. So he mentions that he had no luck with Zach, and but he did get clearance for Fatima to visit him with her lawyer. And Robin asks, where's Fatima? And she said she gave her the day off. And he's like, because of Hayden. And he's like, huh? You ain't got to worry about him. He's about to seriously screw up his day. He said, I'm about to seriously screw up his day. So they left out the office saying, let's go ruin Hayden's day. La, 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 la. So anyway, the entire staff is out in the hallway, and the man in charge announces his retirement and that the majority of the ownership had been sold to Mr. Parker. I guess that's Robin and two other gentlemen. And then Robin makes a brief remark, and everyone goes back to work. And Hayden says, congratulations. And Robin says, oh, we should talk later about the things you told me the other night. And Hayden's like, yeah, congrats again. Robin stepped up to him and said, thanks, it's going to be fun. And Hayden walks away. Robin goes back to Andy's office. They chat a bit, and he asks her to go to New York with him. She's like, I'd love to, but I have a lot of work to do. So that didn't happen. Then Andy calls Fatima, lets her know that Robin wasn't able to help Zach, but he did to meet her at the jail because he set up visitation for her with Zach. So she runs out the house and meet Andy. Then we got Hayden, who goes back to his office and is pissed, and he calls Gary. I knew he was going to call Gary. And he tells him that Robin's not who he pretends to be or we think he is, and that he just bought the law firm and everything. And Gary's like, what? What? He got the law firm? What? He's all upset. What did he say? How did he say it? When did it happen? And then he said, is he with Andy now? He said, you ain't got to worry about that because he's gay. And Gary's like, he ain't gay. Right. He said, he's lying. You an attorney. You should know that when somebody's lying to you. Don't you know? He's like, what makes you say that? He said the way he was looking at me and talking to me yesterday and stuff, saying he liked me, he want me and stuff. Gary was like, man, you stupid. He's like, get off my phone. Get off my phone. You so stupid. He threw down the damn phone and said, it just was like, done. So, because Hayden was like, so he hitting that? He hitting that? He's like, through the phone. Anyway, then it went to Fatima and Andy. They arrived to see Zach, and he got on her for having Andy lie for her, and that he loves her, and he was ready to risk it all for his baby. And she said, I love you too, and I wish you hadn't have done that because Hayden is not worth it. And he said, wait, hold up. How you saying that to me? And Andy goes, right. And he's like, and you got to be up in here? She said... And she said, yeah, if you want her to see, if you want to talk to her, she said, we could cut this short and I could leave. And he's like, nah, okay. Because Andy had to break it down to him and let him know, and then she started talking about what Robin did, and he's the one that got her out and all this stuff. So then I was like, They talking about being street. And here's another funny part. Andy had the nerve to say that she come from the street and that she street. And Zach and Fatima looking like, huh? What? And Zach goes, what street? Beverly Hills? Streets in Beverly Hills. Rodeo Drive streets. Oh my God, I thought that was funny. Then Zach said that, you know what? This is all Fatima's fault. Because she got to be careful who she get that thing to. Munchkin little ass, hating little Munchkin ass can't handle a stallion. And she's like, yeah, boy. She'll turn showing her buttons. Andy's like, oh my God, I got to get out of here, please. I'm so uncomfortable. She said, get me out of here. Then D.A. Jefferson walks in. He starts talking his mess about the 15 years he gonna get or something like that. I said, oh, come on, 10 to 15, because he's back on, he said back on probation because he didn't pay his child support. But he paid the child support, so I'm confused. You damned if you do and you damned if you don't. Zach paid the child support so he could get out of jail for a child that's not his, but y'all gonna put him back on probation for it? So he might as well not have paid it. He might have just stayed in jail and not paid it, and he wouldn't have been beating up Hayden's behind. So anyway, y'all, that's how it ended. They saying they asking for 10 to 15, and everybody's like shocked, and Andy was shocked about hearing about the child support. I guess they're gonna break it down and tell her about it next week. And that's it. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about the episode, how y'all thought it was. Did I miss anything in my review? But I did get some laughs out of this episode. I can tell you that much. Anyway, see you in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.